I'm 81 years old, and the truth is, I've been afraid of my own thoughts for a long time now. Not the big ones people expect, not death exactly. It's the smaller truth, the one that shows up when the house is quiet and there's nothing left to distract me. I wake up most mornings before the sun, not because I'm disciplined, because my body doesn't sleep the way it used to. I lie there and listen to the refrigerator hum, the pipes click, the world reminding me it's still moving without asking me if I want to come along. At this age, time doesn't stretch, it folds in on itself. Yesterday feels close, tomorrow feels thin. People ask me how I'm doing. I tell them I'm fine. I've been saying that for decades. It's an easy word, a safe one. It doesn't invite follow-up. But the truth I was afraid to say is this. I spent most of my life assuming there would be more time, and now I know there isn't. When I was younger, I thought regret came from big mistakes, ruinous choices, things you could point to and say, that's where it all went wrong. But that isn't how it happened for me. Nothing went dramatically wrong. That's the problem. I grew up believing that being steady was enough. Show up, work hard, keep your head down, don't complain. I wasn't raised to look inward too much. Feelings were private things. You handled them on your own, or you didn't handle them at all. I married young. It seemed like the natural next step. She was kind, practical. We made sense on paper. I don't regret marrying her, not exactly, but I regret how often I treated our life like something that would always be there, waiting for me when I had time to notice it. I worked, God, I worked, not because I loved it, but because it felt responsible, because people depended on me, because there was always one more deadline, one more promotion, one more reason to stay late and come home tired. I told myself it was temporary, that once things settled, I'd be more present, that once the kids were older, once the mortgage was smaller, once the pressure eased, I'd finally exhale. I didn't realize that life doesn't announce when the waiting period is over. The kids grew up quietly, not all at once, just a little taller every year, a little less interested in talking to me. I was proud of them. I really was, but pride is a poor substitute for presence. There were nights my wife tried to tell me things, not dramatic things, just pieces of her day, worries, thoughts. She didn't ask for much. Mostly she asked to be heard. I listened with half an ear. I nodded. I answered when necessary. My mind was always somewhere else, already planning tomorrow. I didn't think that was neglect. I thought that was adulthood. Years passed like that. Not fast, just steadily. The way water wears down stone. You don't notice it happening. Then one day you look around and something familiar is thinner than it used to be. We stopped touching as much. Not out of anger, out of habit. Silence crept in, polite and patient. I told myself this was normal, that long marriages settled into quiet, that comfort mattered more than closeness. And maybe that's partly true. But comfort can turn into distance if you're not paying attention. She got sick in a way that didn't seem serious at first. A cough, fatigue, appointments we assumed would lead to simple answers. They didn't. I tried to stay busy. I've always been good at that. but eventually the days stretched too long. Retirement took away my best excuse. There was nowhere I had to be. No urgent reason to avoid myself. That's when the truth started knocking. I began thinking about all the moments I postponed, all the conversations I assumed I could have later. I realized how often I chose productivity over presence, not because I didn't care, but because I thought caring could wait. I missed things I didn't know were the last time, the last walk together, the last unremarkable dinner, the last chance to ask a question that didn't seem important at the time. That's the cruel part. Life doesn't label its endings. I see my children now as adults. Good people, capable, busy. We talk, we're polite, loving, even. But there's a familiarity missing, a depth that comes from years of shared attention, not shared blood. They don't call as often as I once imagined they would. I don't blame them. They have their own lives. I taught them in my own way that life is about moving forward. Loneliness at this age isn't dramatic. It's quiet. It's eating dinner alone and realizing you've stopped setting the table properly. It's having a story and no urgency to tell it. It's knowing that if you disappeared tomorrow, the world would adjust faster than you'd like to admit. The truth I was afraid to say is that I wasn't brave enough when it mattered, not in big ways, in small ones. I wasn't brave enough to slow down, to stay in uncomfortable conversations, to admit when I felt disconnected, to say, I'm scared we're drifting, instead of assuming drifting was normal. I thought providing was love, and it is, to a point. But love also asks for attention, for presence, for risk. At 81, you don't wish for youth. That's a myth. You wish for clarity earlier. You wish you had known which moments were fragile. I don't hate my life, that's important to say. There was goodness, laughter, pride, meaningful work. I'm grateful for many things. Gratitude and sorrow can sit in the same room. I know that now. What hurts isn't what I did wrong. It's what I delayed. If you're listening to this, I don't want to tell you what to do. I'm not qualified for that. All I can offer is a truth earned slowly and at some cost. Assuming there will be more time is a dangerous habit. People don't disappear all at once. They fade if you let them. Relationships don't break loudly. They thin out through inattention. Say the thing you keep rehearsing in your head. Sit down when you want to stay busy. Look at the person in front of you when they're speaking, even if you're tired. These aren't grand gestures, they're small decisions. But small decisions are what make up a life. I'm not angry anymore. That took time. Acceptance isn't peace. It's just the absence of fighting reality. I live quietly now. I take walks. I drink my coffee slowly. I let memories come when they want to. Some days are heavier than others. Some days are light enough. If this meant something to you, I'm glad. If it didn't, that's all right too. I just needed to finally say it out loud. At 81, with more yesterdays than tomorrows, this is the truth I was afraid to say.